The following Pulpery podcast is brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. Welcome to the Pulpery Nerdcast with Brock and Ben. This podcast is where we discuss the nerd culture headlines that intrigue us and those minor details that enrage us.
Okay, here we go, motherfucker. Oppie.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to start with Oppenheimer.
We're not doing Barbenheimer.
Nope, still hadn't seen that, although the child has been begging.
That thing, the Barbie movie, $1 billion at the box office.
It is so polarizing. We may get to that, but we're not. There's not going to be... See?
Actually, well, yeah.
It should be Barbie-nomics.
When we finally see it, we can put it in the politics cast so we can shit on Ben Shapiro.
Correct. And everybody else.
Anyway.
And Matt Gaetz.
The second half of that, the Heimer part.
The Jaime part. Fuck, that movie was good.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good.
Well, and
yes,
I mean,
it was
let's
long,
just
but
pause and talk about Christopher Nolan for a second, because I mean, we got to see, and we always end up coming back to Kubrick anyway, but we got to see Kubrick at the end. Like,
correct.
I think the only one I got to see in the theaters that wasn't on a re-release was Eyes Wide Shut. You might have been able to see Full Metal Jacket. I don't know.
I'm trying to think if I saw Full Metal. I think I did at like $1 theater.
Yeah. So, and that idea of like the people who enjoyed his movies going in and saying, oh, I mean, like, well, what's he going to do this time? And so expectations are high with Christopher Nolan.
Every single time.
And he surpasses expectations.
And I was slightly worried because he went with a biography, which can go wrong in so many ways. Just look at everyone that's ever been done. But the way he structures movies and that fucking music that sounds like it's winding up, but it doesn't. It's just repeating itself, but it gives the illusion of that. By the way, there's like a 30-minute thing on YouTube where you can just listen to that music.
Ooh.
It's just like that constant anxiety, but it's in all of his movies.
That would like get me hyped up like really well, though.
I did it at work once, and like 10, 12 minutes in, my anxiety went through the roof or something. And I think that's when I went down the rabbit hole of the way his music works. And I went, fuck, it makes perfect sense. But yeah, his casting is always on point, and the writing is always on point.
Well, like I said, I think we were in this movie at some point.
Yeah,
like in the background.
I think I have an uncredited part in that movie. Dude, so many people, and then like the last 20 minutes, like, oh look, here's Rami Malek, and he's going to fucking crush it too. And we're just gonna
drop Gary Oldman in on you in full prosthetics.
I don't want that crybaby back in here. And he's like this Southern guy, right? And then eventually, right? He had that crazy draw. I don't know what that was.
Midwestern Southern, yeah.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, Truman's from or middle of Missouri.
That's what I was going to say, Missouri. But still, it was Southern Midwest.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, he was going fine. And then he was just like, do you think we basically, I'm summarizing this.
We're jumping to the end.
I give a fuck about anything? Okay, sorry. We were talking about all the actors. All right. Cillian Murphy? Because Christopher calls him Killian.
I think both worked, yeah.
Right. I'm not whatever he is.
I'm not knocking it, but it's one of those, Gaelic, Celtic, Irish names.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. There's like 5 different pronunciations depending on where you're at.
Dude went... He walked that line to Bale in The Machinist.
Yeah.
Like, he was super close, and Robert Downey Jr. was like, that dude ate like a cracker and a strawberry every day or something. and then chain smoked the whole time. Because he really smokes in real life. So that dude's fucking chain smoking while recording, filming a 3-hour biopic.
Yeah.
This motherfucker is so good.
Yeah. Well, and it's one where I think in his career, you know, you've seen him in, I mean, whether it was like 28 Days Later or whatever, you're going like, oh, that guy's good.
He played the Scarecrow in the Batman movies.
And again, and he played that perfect, like this, like overconfident, psychotic person.
Right.
But
then he played the reserved, like, billionaire's father in Inception.
Yeah. And I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And if you
Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you haven't gotten into that.
I'm about halfway through the first season.
Yeah. I think that's the first one where he like truly, or I mean, he's in the starring role, role. And
Jesus, so many people have
like,
been in that show too.
Yeah.
I think we might be in season 6 or something. Fuck.
Or the Americans that show up, like,
right.
Where can you get a beer?
And then they cut their throats.
But this, like, I never thought of him as like a method style actor. I don't know if he is or not, but like,
I think I read something where he wasn't like walking around as Oppenheimer, but like he wanted to get the mannerisms.
Yeah.
Correct.
And to get yourself gaunt like
right,
Oppenheimer
exactly,
was. Like,
but not like he didn't Daniel Day-Lewis. I haven't read anything, you know, like he did not do that.
Yeah, like I'm living out in the woods.
Right.
I built my own atomic bomb to prepare for this.
Exactly. I moved out to Los Alamos and built a fucking bomb. No. God, I don't know where to start. From his childhood, dude was... I don't... Troubled?
Yeah.
Could you imagine being that smart?
Well, in the fight, I mean, going into the biographies and stuff, and they do point it out in the movie, which I was glad about it, was that he was always criticized, like his math. He wasn't good at math.
No, he was good at theorizing, which is why he kept the mathematicians around him, which is another... I went, how the fuck? I'm going to tell you, and then you're going to write the equation.
Right. Like, I'm going to give you the idea.
Right.
And they do hit on it, but obviously it's not the theme of the movie.
No.
But, he came up with the theory of dark stars, black holes.
Right.
And then it took, 40 years for them to not only, to work out the math and then to be able to prove the math.
Right.
Via observations and shit. So it's like, but you just, one day it was like, well, when a star dies, this is what happens. And then it's going to keep doing this and this and this. And then, 40 years down the line after he's dead, he was totally right.
Completely right.
Yeah.
Exponentially, it's just going to keep going.
Yeah.
The whole burn the atmosphere thing scared the fucking shit out of me. And, you don't think about that, but, yeah. It's a never-ending series of...
Fuck, I had it and I lost it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into scientific stuff. The wife was like, I didn't understand any of the math stuff. It's like, you didn't really need to.
No. But, yeah, I mean, that's where, you get into a biography of it.
Right.
It helps, at least the layman's terms of it.
Yes.
Makes sense.
And I knew enough about all of that. And math is...
Yeah.
Math is my strong suit. It is definitely not English. The English language...
Or just language.
Language in general. Correct. Yes. But yeah, so I really enjoyed the kid part. Right. Everybody not making fun of him, but they were.
Yeah.
And him having to fight through that. But then, who was the one who told him to go to Germany? Who was that?
The Kenneth Branagh character?
Yes.
Niels Bohr.
Okay. When he told him to go see Heisenberg, is that who he saw?
Yeah.
And
then I forget the university, but yeah, I mean where he ends up getting his PhD.
Correct. It was in the south of Germany.
Yeah.
That's all I remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the town. But at any rate, yeah, him telling him to go there. And then I didn't realize he basically traveled the world and picked all of the greatest scientists in all of these countries' minds, and then came back and the military went, "We need you."
Well, but I mean,
and we haven't even gotten into the political aspect of it yet.
Well, but that part is true, and like what is ultimately, or not ultimately, I should say, because there's tons of fascinating shit about him. But it was that, like, yeah, he went around the world, and this is when, like, America was looked as just a bunch of dumbasses.
Exactly.
And the Germans were the top.
Yep.
And he was like, well, I'm going to go learn from them, and then I'm going to come back.
And I'm going to be the smartest man in the room, literally.
Well, and I'm going to build the United States into a theoretical physics, chemistry, all that powerhouse, which he did at Caltech.
And what was the one? We don't need to get into the minutia of it all. Yeah, but we'll talk about it in the next half about the political aspect of it.
Sure.
I had no fucking clue in Florence Pugh, and I promise I won't go down a hole with her. Oh, that sounded dirty. I promise I will not go on a tangent about Florence Pugh. Robert Downey Jr.
Immaculate. I'm sorry. Like, he blew me away with that.
Yeah, because, everybody's seen, like, we know him from, like, Less Than Zero, right? And all of those I'm going to be on cocaine movies.
Yeah.
I really am on cocaine. And then he was Iron Man. It's always been his Iron Man for a vast majority of human beings.
What I loved about the way he played his character is that in like the first half he draws you in.
Yes.
And you're like,
look,
he supports him, he does
right.
this. And then he turns into like Tony Stark
yes.
in the second half of being, like, nobody fucks with me, I do this.
And I love how it all came back to he made fun of him. It was like Obama and Trump.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. It started his villain arc. And I can't say spoiler alert because if you know, you know.
Yeah.
And if you don't, it doesn't matter to the grand scheme of things. Yeah, fantastic. One more thing. Matt Damon, if you're listening, I need you playing a mustachioed.
Yeah. Hard
slightly meathead leader.
Yeah.
CEO, president, general,
football coach,
anything of that nature. That's what I need you playing for the rest of your fucking life. I don't need you beating people up or going to Mars. I need you playing that character forever.
Well, if he'd had a mustache on Mars, that would have been better.
Yeah, because he was just a scientist at that
Yeah.
point. So yeah, you could have done that as well. So keep that up, please keep that up. Another thing is, of course I'm not, but every time he said his rank,
yeah,
I kept looking at his shoulder because I'm a military kid, and I was like, Colonel, 1 star, and then at some point he got a 2nd star, and I went, he got a 2nd star,
yeah,
because they kept jumping up.
Yeah, when or at least the guy he was playing, when he was put in, they had to make him a brigadier general.
Correct.
In order to have him run that program.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The old man had multiple stars on his chest, too, and shoulders. So, and I like it when he said, I built the Pentagon, so they figured I was good enough to build this. If you can say...
That's true.
I built the Pentagon, you can do anything you want.
And the real life guy did it under time and under budget, which is why they were like, oh, you did, but what the...
It's the Pentagon. It's not like he built a high rise or anything. Like, that thing has multiple fucking levels. It's built like it is.
We have been making some changes here at Pulpery. We've shortened our episodes to 30 minutes so you can catch everything we say on the drive home, on a lunch break, or at any other time. We've added video to our repertoire, and we are expanding our social media presence. So check us out on YouTube and smash that subscribe button and use the likes. You can get our socials from the link in our bio, and be on the lookout for our new politics cast. If you need a change for your taste buds, go to thegdsauce.com and change the way you think about the way you eat. From their signature goddamn sauce to their ghost pepper sauce, they have everything you need to rethink condiments. Help support an independent business by getting rid of your same old condiments and boss up with the goddamn sauces.
All right, so where do we leave off? The Communist Party? Great. Okay, so this is where I became confused, all right? And I'm not a history buff. Well, I mean, I am a history buff, but I don't know. I slept through history because I'm a fucking idiot. Now I wish I listened. My kids, not so much.
Well, I get that all the time. Like, people going, I wish I paid more attention.
Straight,
like,
and I read shit tons of books now, so...
Yeah.
There was a underground communist party in this country during that time.
So,
explain to me that we're going to get into just a touch of politics. That was my biggest question throughout the whole thing.
Well,
because Florence Pugh.
I'll try and keep it short. So the
and I only bring
why
you think the only reason I bring this up is because that is what ultimately ended him.
Yeah. So and this is and it's actually fun because I'm going to be able to teach it properly this year.
Good.
Because so what you normally hear about the Red Scare is
right.
And there's people like McCarthy who went after the wrong people.
Imagine that. We're still not doing that today.
So, but yeah, there was the American Communist Party
was a real thing.
Yeah, and not in the way that
we think of the GOP and now, or
not
Democrats
even that, like,
or Republicans.
Not even the way that you would think of, or the way that there was a communist party back in, like, the early 1900s, which was, going for more Marxist ideals. Whereas this one was, they actually believed, they were in that belief that the United States should be a part of, like, the Soviet Union. And so the Soviet Union was able to tap those people as, like, sleeper agents.
Right.
Which
you will see in the movie.
Yeah. But, like,
that's a big deal in the movie. Like, I had no fucking clue.
That shit was legit. And those are the type of people that McCarthy should have been going after, not, Jewish screenwriters. Who went to a meeting because they were, trying to score with a chick or something.
That's exactly what they were trying to fit in.
But, like, that, the dude he hands his kid off to, I forget the... Chevalier.
Yes.
Like, that guy was literally an agent of the Soviet Union.
Right.
Now,
his brother was borderline too.
Yeah. And the thing was that they weren't operating on all the information either. They were thinking, the Soviet Union, they were being fed the propaganda. So they were thinking the Soviet Union was this functioning communist.
Right, because they weren't there getting proper. Yeah. It's not like they could get online and read a meme.
That they were, and, like, they didn't know about the pogroms and shipping people out to Siberia, the mass genocide of Jewish people, so on and so forth. They were only concerned with, like, workers' rights, and they're being fed propaganda.
Yeah, unions was another huge thing that I didn't realize in this.
Yeah, so the...
Unionizing scientists.
Well, yeah, and educators, and,
Yeah, what's the word? Educators isn't the word.
College professors.
Academics.
Yeah. So,
yes.
Well, and that's why, in and around the Red Scare, people would... Unionizing was equated with communism.
Right.
And then... But there's the part that that everybody knows, and it seems like this flimsy kind of thing, but there's this darker subtext to it. That actually was a legit scare, but it was more... Yeah, people were being fed lies to believe that, they should work for the Soviet Union as these sleeper agents. But, like, the Rosenbergs were that.
Right.
Yeah.
And they showed that in this, the whole point of that was they showed, and I had that question since I walked out the movie theater for you. Yes, it played a bigger role in this movie than you would think.
Yeah. Well, well, that tribunal legit happened.
In a fucking closet.
Yeah.
In a room about this size.
There's a PBS did a really good reenactment of that with David Strathairn as
right, because they actually have the fucking minutes. Yeah. Not even the minutes, the fucking record. But I'd like this admitted to the record.
But the PBS special is just David Strathairn as Oppenheimer, and there's nobody else on screen, and it's just him being awkward as fuck trying to answer these questions and stuff. But
so did they have the other people in the room on the couch, I wonder?
In the PBS one, no.
In real life?
Yeah. I mean, it was supposed to be this informal, because it was about a security clearance,
right.
But then they turned it into
a fucking...
a show trial.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Behind closed doors.
Which, it's... But,
that goes back to the dark undertones. I could kind of believe it, but then Oppie was...
The Rosenbergs didn't help anything either.
Correct. But I did... The other question was, well, what happened to him after all of this went down? And he basically just went downhill, right? Like they said, he didn't work again.
No, I mean, he did interviews trying to get out there about the dangers of using atomic weapons, but as you saw in the movie,
what he was advocating for at the end of the movie, which is why they blacklisted him.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to, and they used his communist ties.
I mean,
as the
similar to the Orioles organization, you don't talk bad about.
Oh my God!
Do you like how I brought that one in? Yeah.
Okay,
we can't.
Real quick. When I saw that headline, all right, and then I listened to the clip, I went, this is satire, right? There's nothing wrong with what he said. And then I took a deeper dive and went, are you... that's why you're the Orioles.
Yeah.
All right, move on.
Same thing happened to Oppenheimer. I mean, he creates... He turns America into the mightiest power in the world.
He won the war.
Yeah, and then...
Basically.
Yeah.
You can argue one way or another.
That's a longer discussion, but yeah.
Yeah, we don't have time for that at all. But, well, I mean, Gary Oldman said he won the war.
Yeah, but then, well, exactly, yeah. Well, and that part is true, is that Truman is the one that the decision ultimately comes down to.
Correct.
And Truman is historically remembered as the one, and there is the record of it. And you go in like, no, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's a whole plethora of other reasons
but he's still considered like a good old Truman, huh?
Depending on who you talk to, yeah, but yeah.
I mean, that's everybody. But I mean, everything is
World War II buffs, yes, yeah. Or American World War II buffs, sure.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. If I was a Japanese World War II buff, then I would...
yeah, all right. Anyway.
Okay, so I wasn't expecting a political... I mean, I was expecting the whole, like, he had to live with that the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And of course, it ate at him from as a kid.
You didn't expect it to be such a saucy political...
Correct.
Yeah.
I didn't expect an hour after the bomb went off.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that was 3 hours? The bomb went off already? What the fuck? And then it was like, Christopher Nolan went, oh, no.
Oh, no. Hold my beer.
Yeah. Just wait.
Here you go.
Now we're getting into the good fucking stuff. But you don't realize that. And again, some people are just going to go see it because it's Christopher Nolan and it's a good movie and everybody loves it, blah, blah, blah. Some people are going to go see it like we did and go, fuck. Like, I want to know what he was thinking and he was neurotic, to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
I can't imagine being in his brain. I can't imagine being his wife.
Well, I mean, not the sole reason, but part of the reason she was an alcoholic. Sure.
Well, there were things leading...
Talk about two bad parents.
Talk about a toxic relationship. And they were together until they died, right?
Yeah.
Kids.
Well, to get deep into the character of Oppenheimer, you're talking about, like you said, like an insanely intelligent individual who's also in an industry, at least leading up to the war, in which Jewish people...
Yeah.
So he typically hides it's why it's J... I forget what the J stands for. It's not John.
He says it doesn't stand for anything.
Yeah. But it's from... I should remember from my research on him, my reading about him, but I know it's a very
Jewish
yeah,
name.
Hasidic name.
I think that's better than Jewish. I sound like an ignorant human being.
But like, or like a dead giveaway. Let's just say that, and that's why it's like J. Robert Oppenheimer.
Robert.
Yeah.
I always felt weird when they called him Robert, and if they.
Oppie.
Fucking Christ!
But
I hated that. But I get it. Oppenheimer's a mouthful.
But you know, that's the thing is, I mean, I'm surprised nobody has tried to tackle this before.
Exactly. I don't think you could though.
Well, in that I mean, you now look at it and be like, Nolan's
the only one. Yeah.
Because
everybody else would have done it linear, right? Like this is his life,
right?
Which, no.
Well, and like I said, is that there's all these supporting characters.
Yeah.
But they do, like, other than the key people, but even Matt Damon's character, other than a couple of throwaway lines, there's no backstory on him.
No, he's just the guy in charge. Yeah. He's the guy who built the Pentagon under budget, and that's who they put in charge.
The only backstory is on Oppenheimer.
Right. You don't get the backstory on any of the other scientists.
Not his mistress, not his wife.
No.
Like,
right. You just know there. They're there. Like, do you see his kids?
Yeah, you do.
The baby.
Yeah.
The baby. But that's it.
Yeah, but they don't go into the effect he has on his...
like, none of that.
And I get that. Or, like, you know, I get where audiences are so... And they might be jarred by that. But, like, I mean, that's such a... Not only a Nolan thing, but, like... I mean, that's what, like, Kubrick would have done. Like, look, I'm just focused on this fucking
look at
person.
All of it. The Shining, it was all about Jack.
Yeah.
Even Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Like, they had all these people moving in and out, but it was him.
Yeah.
And the machine.
Yeah.
Like, all of Eyes Wide Shut. It was...
Tom Cruise.
Right.
Yeah.
Full Metal Jacket, you had all of this shit going on, and it was Matthew Modine, who was also in this movie.
That's right.
Damn it. Everybody's in this movie.
Yeah.
But it... And they all nailed their part, whether they were on screen for...
Well, don't get me started on Matthew Modine. I love that dude. But,
so do I. Who doesn't?
Yeah. No, I'm not going to get off on that tangent.
No.
Because we only got about 2 minutes left. But the one thing I did want to say is that what I absolutely loved about this movie, and it took me back to the early 2000s, late 90s, and made me realize, like, I really fucking miss movies that have, like, a social message to it. And, you know...
People stop doing that.
Yeah. I don't, like, are they too scared?
Yes.
Or is it the studios going, like, no, you can't do that, but because Christopher Nolan's got carte blanche to do whatever the fuck he wants.
And whatever her name is who did that was not derogatory, but the female
Greta
who
Gerwig,
did,
wasn't it? Is that who it was?
That's who it was?
I think it is, yeah.
Who directed Barbie?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'd have to double check on it.
Doesn't matter. But
it's either her or one other person.
And I haven't seen the movie, but apparently it triggered a whole bunch of people because there were those undertones.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Barbie and Ken. It was the whole bunch
They're
of
actually trying to make a social commentary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The only movies that do that these days, cartoons.
Yeah.
Straight up. Cartoons.
But like with this is that there's the obvious thing of nuclear annihilation, sure, which is still a threat. But the overall ideal I got from it was, and it's very apropos with everybody's fear about AI and whatever, is that when technology is not in the proper hands,
correct,
it
or
can
you don't
cause
truly understand
infinite chain reactions.
Forever. Well, that was the theme from the jump.
Yeah.
Actually,
even with Downey Jr.'s character. Like, he starts something and then he can't stop it. And
exactly, because
it gets internalized with him.
All because of one thing. He got his feelings hurt, and then it evolved.
Well, and then, shit, I know.
I know we don't have enough time.
Well, I did want to just
go
briefly
see the movie.
That Alden Ehrenreich, Han Solo.
Yeah.
He plays the audience in that movie. Like when he finally realizes... The following Pulpery podcast is brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. Pulpery is a privately produced podcast by Brock Ryder and Ben Grimmie. On social media and photography by Beck Ryder. Original music by the Heisenberg Compensators.